Are you sure?
Yes. Oh.
But you did fly.
I did fly.
Cool.
I went around once and I landed.
That's awesome.
But I did my first successful reverse.
Hey, welcome to the pre-show.
Thanks. Thanks for having me. I'm sorry I'm late.
No, you're totally fine. Yeah, so Danielle, I'm gonna rat you out here for a second. Danielle texted me today and she's like, "Hey, I'll be around the time of the pre-show if you want me to join." And I was like, "Yeah, that'd be awesome," because I've gotten to the point where I'm just kind of accepted the fact that
you do a great job by yourself.
Just sit here by myself. Thank you, I appreciate that. So I'll probably just sit here by myself. So when she told me that, I was like, that would be awesome. I was like, that would be great. So she was here, and then I was not even like probably 10 minutes before the pre-show. The pre-show doesn't really have a scheduled time. It's more of just like it just happens when it happens. And Eric was calling me, which I thought was kind of funny because he's been in his office all day, and I was like, wow, he's really lazy. So I answered it, and he was like, "Hey, where's Nell's wing?" And my first thought was, all right, let's see how it is. It's cool. It's fine. But then I was like, well, if you can't find it, I was like, I know mine's right on top, and she can use that one. But I was like, I just got so sad. I was like, it's like really depressing. Mostly because I couldn't fly this morning.
Yeah.
Because I set my alarm at the wrong time.
Yeah, well, here we
I
are.
was really tired.
I did go up, and I went around once, and I landed from a direction that I'm not used to. I know, it's like very, very exciting.
That's the only decoration I have right now. Sorry.
And it felt really bumpy to me, but I don't like any
You're on the Spider, weren't you?
Mm-hmm.
How long has it been since you've flown?
A week, I think. I think it was like last week, maybe. It feels like a while. I know I needed to go.
I'm like dying on the inside.
jonesing.
I feel like I almost kind of feel like I don't know how to.
Do you want me to set the alarm on your phone for you so that we make sure that you
do it together right now? Yes.
AM, Kate.
It's gonna be a whole new catchphrase for me now.
Yeah.
I see Leanne's in the chats. Leanne, I am so stoked to have you here. That's in what day is today?
Today is the 10th.
She's gonna be here in 4 days. She's in this class starting on Saturday, and I could not be more excited to see her in the air.
Oh, I'm so
stoked.
excited too. Super excited.
So Leanne, does that mean since you're learning to fly now, does that mean you're still coming down for October for the girls' class? That means you can help.
Yes.
You can help us teach.
Yes, you have to come down and like powwow with everybody.
Powwow. So Kristen Solano and I, she did the pre-show with me once, and we started this thing called, I think it's what was it, Kristen? The Powerpuff Girls or something like that. It's just this little band of paramotor girls. It's great.
Fun.
Everyone should be a part of it. I think it's awesome. We have Kevin Ray, Expect Daily Vlogs. Oh, he wasn't talking to me. My bad. Parapuff. The Parapuff Girls.
Ah, Parapuffs. That's cute.
Do you want to be a Parapuff Girl?
Sure. I mean, who wouldn't want to be a Parapuff Girl?
That's a fair statement. I don't know how I feel about it. I think I feel good about it. That came out wrong. I definitely feel good about it. But we got to get a logo made for it.
Yeah. That'd be
Something
cool.
that has to do with, I don't even know what that would look like. Kristen, you're on it. Do it.
Yes.
Make us look good.
She will totally get it done too.
We have Paramotor Crazy. What time is it? So, guys, sadly, this is going to be a short show. Eric is going to step in. He has a special guest tonight. I'll give you a hint. It was the dude who was harassing us. Did you see Johnson?
Yes.
Disturbing our building?
I was one-wheeling under him.
Really?
Well, not
Well,
like
I
on
thought you were
purpose,
flying.
but he was.
Oh.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It might not have been him that time. Anyway, doesn't matter.
Brooke.
That was more than a hint.
Yes. Thanks.
That was like an actual name.
It was. Brooke just said butt fan babes, and I actually really like that.
Heard worse.
Butt fan babes.
Yeah.
I came up with one earlier, and I don't remember what it is. Which is really sad because it was actually really clever. I thought of it this morning when I was doing my video. Yeah. Class Q airspace. Why did I say Class A? You plead no. That is wrong. I have evidence. You were definitely cannot prove it. I was you, man. You had the flashing strobes, and also you're the only one here who currently flies a Scout. So that's it. That's all we need, right?
I mean, yeah.
That's all
Seems
the
like
proof
enough.
we need.
Seems like enough.
Oh man, guys, do you have any questions for us? Let us, if you're here, drop a comment or a question or anything. keep us talking. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty exhausted. We have Palm Bay coming up right around the corner. Yeah, and my mind has been like nonstop. We're all working together to get.
It's been a big push here, though. It's in lots of different ways. So
busy, and then we've got Sun Fun right after. Mm-hmm. Sun Fun's like 2.5 weeks after.
Yeah, something like that.
It's just really, really busy.
It is coming up.
Clipped Wing just said something. What did he say? I'm super ADHD. I'm sorry. It is. It's anyway. So what all I was saying. Oh wait, Clipped Wing. Ben Smith said, "I vote Kate has to make a new pre-show."
I was gonna tell you I have an idea for a new pre-show game. Not for tonight, but I did have one. I was
thinking about pre-show games too, but I didn't know like. I don't know. What's your idea? Do we want to talk about it on here?
Do we want to talk about it on here? Or do we want it to be a surprise?
Now I'm just curious. Like now I just want to know what it is.
A caption this contest with like a photo.
Oh my gosh!
And do a caption this contest.
That's amazing.
Possibly with prizes.
I wonder if we get like the best one.
Yeah,
that's smart.
I don't know. My thing is, how do we judge that? Are you like the ultimate judge of caption?
Do I get to choose?
I don't know. See, it's not fully thought out. This was just like an idea. Yeah, exactly. Where are we?
I wonder, I mean, would it be just anyone's, or would it be just like, would it be photos that we could get from students of like, hey, this is the stupid thing?
I suppose you could like request submissions and then like
people
choose
can send in their most
or two.
Embarrassing, and you don't have to, you don't have to disclose who you are, but it can be your picture.
And
it can be like
submissions.
We can make
anonymous submissions. So what email
like
would they send that to?
We make this like the multitude of just paramotor memes. I love it. This is such a good idea.
So what email are they going to send these anonymous submissions to?
All right. So these anonymous photos, send them to info@aviatorppg.com. Do it.
Yeah.
And then I like this idea. This is good. Or you can send it, or put my email. Actually, that's a bad idea. Don't send them to info. Don't do that. Erase that comment. Send it to Catherine@aviatorppg.com. Jane Ellen's going to put it here in the chats for you because my name is spelled about 5,000 different ways. And so.
Well, your name is only spelled one way, but.
What?
What do you want the subject title?
It doesn't. I mean, anonymous just means we won't say.
Yes.
Or
if
Kate
you
won't
decide,
say who sent it in.
Right. I won't.
That's all.
Thank you, Kristen. You can also drop my email in there too if you don't mind. I already know she loves the idea. She's dying. I can hear your laugh.
Yes.
You know you're really close with your coworkers, and you know you love them so much when you can literally see their comment and you can hear the way they're saying it.
Even though they're hundreds of miles away most of the time.
I'm so excited she's gonna be
here.
I
know. It's so great.
She's Catherine, not
Kate.
Yes, it's Catherine at Aviator. Don't email it to Kate at Aviator BBG.
It will be lost in cyberspace forever.
It will be. Sorry.
Wendy. Hi, Wendy.
Oh, hey, I was supposed to go to their the trials competition and I couldn't make it.
Yeah.
That was this past weekend. But
yeah, I hope it went
saw
well.
that Justin got second place.
Which
is awesome. I really wish I could have been
it was
there,
so much fun. It looked like so much fun.
I really think that Paradigm should start performing at more like action-packed.
That'd be cool.
I think it would be a fun idea.
Yeah.
We need to get into it. We need people to like wiggle worm a word in so we can start performing before NASCAR races.
That would be super cool.
Boom.
That would be super cool.
See, like, even Kristen said, boo, ah, ha, 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 ha. It's perfect.
Yeah.
I just lost my whole train of thought. Oh, Palm Bay.
Yes.
I was talking about Palm Bay. So we're getting everything ready for, that was like a way to jump back to what I was talking about before.
I'm with you.
I'm not. I'm barely like, I'm so tired. So we're getting everything ready to go, and we're for those of you who will be there and who are interested, we are taking our one wheels and our pints and the rest and our accessories. With that being said, we have very limited stock now. They're selling.
Really?
They're selling. We only have 2 XRs that we're taking.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
I know, because we just
ordered a bunch.
I know.
That's awesome.
It is good.
I mean,
we only
it's
have
bad for them, but
I mean, I'm a little
more
bummed
people having fun.
right? Good job.
Saved it.
Good job, Nell. I'm really excited to take the rest. I'm hoping that we, and I don't want to say get rid of them, but
Help
there's
more
only
people
2.
have fun.
Exactly. More people having fun. I kind of want one, but I was telling Allie I'm still too scared. I can ride them. I can ride them, and it's fine. I just as soon as I get on them and I'm suddenly not around anything that can catch me if I fall, I'm like, this is a bad idea. Mistakes were made for sure.
Yeah.
PPG Grandpa said, Ava Show, please post the pre-show.
Pre-show video for those who don't get to see it live.
Does it not upload? It should upload. It should on YouTube. It does.
Yeah, I think on
And
YouTube.
Facebook.
I think when they put it on, when they edit it for like podcast content,
You're talking for because it goes to Spotify too.
Yeah, I think it might be
That makes
edited out
sense.
there.
There is one on there where John and I talked for a whole 2 hours about nothing. It was great. And the whole thing uploaded, and I was like, oh God. Why? Just why? Paramount Brandon said, I'm trying to get an XR. Dude, we have them. Buy one. Brian Waller just got his XR. Hey, Brian Waller posted a video. I already watched the entire thing, dude. I'm pretty sure it was 12 minutes long. I was dying laughing the whole time. It was great. He was wearing a helmet. I'm very proud of you, by the way. He was all geared up in it. He had his elbow protectors on. He had these knee things on and his helmet. He was ready for the fall, and he only fell, I think, once. I was impressed. Truly, I was truly impressed. Ordering this good, hopefully from us. Paramount Brandon said he's been riding one locally. I'm assuming, I guess, just a friend of yours has one, unless you just found one local that you've just been riding around. Which, if that's the case, that's totally fine. But anyways, yes, so we will be at Palm Bay. I'm super stoked about it. I don't know, Eric mentioned that you might be bringing the kids too. Are you guys all going, or what's the...
Yes, that it has been the plan.
Is it set in stone or no?
Nope. I haven't told the kids yet, so...
You haven't told them yet?
No.
Oh.
No, because then they ask every 10 seconds. But how much longer? Which is
I totally
wonderful and adorable,
understand.
but it is tiring.
Twitch.
So, yeah. Yep.
Are you excited about going?
Yeah.
Do you think you'll
Yeah,
fly?
looking forward to it. We'll see. We'll see.
We're taking your gear, so...
Yes, I don't love flying with a lot of people around.
Me neither. And to be completely honest, I am taking my gear, but I don't know that I'll fly.
Yeah, I feel like
flying.
I would go with the expectation that I'm probably not flying. And if it does work out, then cool. But
I don't know. Last year, maybe it's just because I was a total noob, but last year so this will be my second time at Palm Bay. The first time I went was literally right after I started here. I was here for maybe 2 days, and then Eric was like, we flew in the Cessna, actually. He was like, we're going to go on a trip. And I was like, I officially have the coolest job ever after 3 days of working there. But it was there was a lot happening. There was a lot happening for the first fly-in I'd ever been to.
And it's
I
a
was
big
talking,
one.
and I was talking to Ross today, and he was like, "That's kind of the scary part about Palm Bay is that the only rule is that there are no rules." And so I feel like I don't want to say that I'm a total new pilot, but even as someone who's a somewhat intermediate, I don't want to fly when I'm spending most of my time making sure someone else is not putting me in danger. I want to be able to enjoy when I fly.
Too many variables with so many pilots that you don't know their
right.
skill level or their aptitude or
you don't know what you don't know their habits. It's you fly with us. We're comfortable flying with all of our people because
everybody out there is looking
we can
out
almost predict
right,
and we can kind of predict what they're gonna do. Like AJ trying to play hide and seek all the time.
Does he know he's playing hide and seek?
Yes, he does.
Just,
he thinks it's cute. He thinks it's very cute. With that being said, I trust AJ a lot. So it's but
for sure.
Paramount are crazy. Kate, you'll be fine. You have enough experience and you will have no problem. It's not me flying that worries me. It's more of the fact that we were just saying, I just don't know everybody well enough to be able to jump into the sky when there's
a lot.
When there's 30, 35, 40 plus people flying in one pretty tight area.
I've actually never been to Palm Bay.
Ever?
No.
What?
Well, I mean, not the fly-in.
Never?
No.
I'm really surprised.
No.
How did that happen?
I really haven't been to that many
You've been to Oshkosh? And
yes, yeah, but
Oshkosh,
that's, I mean,
you've
that's
been to
like,
Sun and Fun.
yeah, but Sun and Fun is local, and that's like the other thing. And I went to
When's Everwinter?
Beach Blast years ago. Well, that was like here.
Yeah,
So
still counts.
I made dinner the first 2 years, so yes, I was there.
Totally counts.
But no, I haven't been yet, so it'll be an interesting adventure. So many ways.
There was I just lost my train of thought again. It is fun. There's a lot happening. There's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Good people. With that being said, I wasn't trying to be like, I'm not a huge, like, believe it or not, guys. I'm not a huge people person. I'm very much so lock myself in my room with my cat and stay there. But
he's a really cool cat. So.
he is a really cool cat. He's getting really mean.
Oh.
It's not okay. It's really scary, actually.
Maybe you need to start locking him out of your room.
Oh, I do. And then he cries and cries, and then my roommate puts him back in my room, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. This is the struggle of living in a really tiny place.
Yeah.
Your Dankies Garcia said, road almost. Wait, I'm having a hard time reading. Over.
This is an
For
acronym.
those of, I feel bad for those of you who are watching this and they're not able to read the live comments. That very sudden pause, trying to figure out how to. Is that a paramotor power? You're going to stand for power around road. Oh, it's a gigantic. I get it now.
Yes, it's an acronym.
I realize that now. It's just so big. I couldn't see it. No, go.
I feel like Dora the Explorer thing. They're like, go. Somehow there's like a.
I feel like you're more of like the fox, swiper, no swiping.
I can get on board with that.
You're not
For sure.
You're not like Puerto Rican enough or Hispanic enough. What is she? Cuban? Is this the question of the day? Who else do we have in here? We can scroll down. We got Moto Fly Guy, 100%. He's wait, isn't Moto? Never mind. I'm not gonna pretend like I can remember everybody's name because I can't. There's only some of you. I'm really glad you got a kick out of us trying to navigate your message there, because that was go gadget now.
Yes!
Adrian said go. That's so cute.
I would love random like tools and helpful things to just sort of like spurt out and
Go gadget now.
that'd be cool.
Blue. Oh hey, wait.
Yay!
Allie's still here. Streaming from the sky. Are you serious? Get off of your phone.
Did you do a reverse?
Was
I
she-
reversed. I said that already. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
you
really
didn't.
excited. Yes, I did my first reverse. I
you say
hadn't
that
done
already?
a reverse right when I first sat down.
Oh.
I hadn't
Sorry.
done any. I had never done a reverse since I was reverse kiting during training.
Isn't it great?
You
You don't like it?
no, I have to. It's a very like kind of like a little bit of a trapped feeling for me. Like the turn.
No, I
it's kind of a weird-
totally get that. So it wasn't until recently. I've been flying over for over a year now, and it wasn't until the past like 2 or 3 months where I finally was like, I'm gonna start doing reverses again. And I had the same feeling. Like the first, I mean, maybe not the same feeling, but I had like really similar. Like I feel like I'm discombobulated and I don't know how to do the thing. But once
Yeah.
you start doing it more and more and more, it's
it's
easy. I kind of got over that by kiting a lot. Like I would literally just like.
I should
It's
probably do
helpful.
that. Well,
It is helpful.
I did it during training with the sim on my back, and I had like it really like scared me in a like a very deep-seated way, and so I had to work through that for a little while.
So you just stick with forward launching.
And
I mean,
I
you're
really
killing it.
haven't
You're
flown.
doing-
The weather has been good enough when I'm flying that I don't have. It's never really. Tonight was the first night where I thought, if I don't do reverse, then I probably am not flying. So, all right,
But you did it.
I did.
And you are sitting here, which means you're alive, which means it's okay.
Worked out.
Eric said Kate needs a meme of her face when she's trying to understand something with a text below saying, processing, please wait.
There's I heard there's
I
a
really
caption
wanna-
this contest.
Someone just screenshots Kat's face of, listen. Wow, that makes it worse. We also need one where she takes off her glasses and tries to read it and understand it, and that's just a whole other caption. I want to try to defend myself from that comment, but I agree with it. I think that's, I think it's pretty great. We should do it. Derek Trout says reverses are easier. They're easier for some people.
Alex said no reverse.
Class Q Aerospace that said Allie has flown 2 motors in the last 10 minutes. Are you trying to like?
Bless a little heart.
That's really sad. Also, that's really good for her because I know she's been wanting to fly too.
Yes.
I can't wait to fly tomorrow morning, dude. I'm so excited. I feel like I'm
still
like
good now. It'll be good in 10 minutes. Just go Gadget Kate.
go Gadget Kate. In 4 minutes, if Eric shows up on time, I kind of feel like we need to open these now because we've been waiting for so long. A couple people, you guys, you were the ones that said, do you count as Eric?
Oh.
Do you want to count as Eric? I think that we should open.
I was gonna say
Eric's.
I can
Eric
stalk his
in.
location.
Hey, me too. He's right there. He just walked in.
How convenient.
So, Eric, for one, we need to open these because it's driving me crazy. I'm terrified that this is a glitter bomb.
Did you see the video of the guys who, you know how people steal packages off of porches? These guys set up a fake package that had a glitter bomb inside, it had a timer, so the person takes it off the porch, and then like 2 minutes later when they're opening the box, and he got it all on film, it's like this gigantic
I have not seen it, but that sounds
You
amazing.
need to find it, it's so amazing.
Who is it?
Is it Mark Rober? Yeah. It's so good. Oh my gosh, it was so funny. It was so funny.
All right, so Eric just walked in. Is our terrorist, aka Johnson, coming in?
Yes.
Okay.
Would you like a chair?
You should totally stay here, but Eric, we gotta open these. It's killing me, man.
All right.
One of them's Aviator Paramotor. Go sit on your wife's lap. Aviator Paramotor, care of Kate Bowen, to be opened only by Eric on the live stream. I don't know.
Are you dead yet?
Yes,
All
a long
right,
time
so we
ago.
should open these.
So I kind of feel like I shouldn't open this one in front of the screen. I don't know. Is Vertical Lines even in here? Does he want to be in here?
Oh yeah, let's wait for him. Let's wait for him to be in
Yeah,
here, and then
if
we'll
he's
open
not-
it.
I thought I saw him earlier, but maybe not.
All right, we're gonna take a 1 minute break. How was
1 minute.
pre-show?
1 minute.
It was pretty good. I'm really like super out of it today. You can ask them. I'm just been like kind of all over
I've
the
been
place.
around you all day. Trust me, I know.
She's highly entertaining, so.
I'm just
So are you.
guys, whenever you see Vertical Lines jump in the chats, I'll run back in so Eric and I can open these.
Yes.
Because I seriously need to know what it is. All right, we're going to take a really short break. Eric, don't walk in front of the camera. He's going to do it. We're going to take a short break, guys. We'll be right back. Again, thank you for watching the pre-show.
Welcome. Awesome. Hello and welcome to the Ask Aviator podcast. This is episode number 40. I can't believe it, guys. 40 episodes in just over a year. Not too terrible. We are excited to share episode number 40 with you guys because we have some wonderful people in the chat already. We had a blistering pre-show with Kate and Nell. If you guys are listening to this after the fact and you didn't get to hear it, make sure you check in live. Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern time, generally around that time is when we go live. And pretty excited because tonight we're going to say hi to the casting crew. Kate is splitting to go fly, which is awesome.
Guys, I'm going to go fly. Don't let Eric open these.
They can't hear you.
Yes, I can.
Come give them to me, and then you can.
All right. So we've got a lot of good folks in the chat. Jim CR120, Daniel Jones, Gillette Outdoor Adventures, Jay Williams. Guys, great to have you all in the chat. I can't read as fast. Mitch Briggs, Average Plebe Torqued Off. Good to see you. Brian Waller, always a pleasure. Leanne, good to see you. I'm so excited to have you down here this weekend. I'm bummed I'm going to miss Saturday because we'll be at Palm Bay, but it'll still be a great, great time. Very excited. Mitch Briggs, Bob Garber, Ripman Wright, and Derek Trout, always a pleasure. William, hey, brother, man. You just missed Snell. You got to get back down here and fly. We miss you. My wife is currently drinking wine out of a bottle from behind the camera. That's I feel like that would have been good pre-show stuff. Mike Brennan, Peter Ciesla, Kristen Solano, good to see you, darling. We've got the whole crew here. Daniel Jones, good to see you as well, my friend. Keep it in mind if you want to come over here and work with us. We'd love to have you. All right. So with all of that said, I'm going to jump into the introduction of our very, very special guest. The only pilot to deliberately turn down an invitation to the Paradigm Aerobatic team. The only pilot who will definitely get his Paradigm jersey after everyone else on the planet. We're making him a Paradum jersey. I think that would be pretty solid. But he has the very interesting, exciting knowledge. To my knowledge, he's the only paramotor pilot who's thrown a reserve twice into water, kind of on purpose. What else? What else can we? I mean, Lucian's already got it, guys. I want to have you all welcome my good friend Johnson Q, or as we call him, Asian Tucker. Yay! The crowd goes wild. Now we both have coronavirus. Is that what this is?
Yes. I believe I came from the center of massive coronavirus up north. So
I heard Harvard is making sure everyone's out of the dorms by Friday.
Ooh, lucky them.
Yeah, I feel like Harvard's dorms would be pretty lit. Like, I don't know. I've never been to Harvard. Clearly.
I've only gone drinking with their grad students. They throw some pretty good parties.
I could see that. I could see that being reality. All right, so
Hi, Leanne.
I'm going to let Johnson kind of introduce himself and explain who he is and why he's here. I mean, you don't really know why you're here, but
Why am I here?
oh well, this is your coming out party.
As straight.
Yes, of course.
Or as a secret paramotor instructor.
You are a secret paramotor instructor. We were talking about this yesterday. So you and I met when? Do you know exactly when that was?
I believe it was Icarus. It was definitely Icarus, Florida.
Icarus X, yeah.
2017?
I feel like I've known you longer than that. I don't know. Maybe it was an internet relationship or something.
I think I sent you like one message before that.
Yeah.
Because I remember looking for your profile right before Icarus, and I had asked you a question about a Dudek Universal. So that kind of tells you the era that we were in.
That was the era. So 3 years ago, you came to Icarus. There are things you have to understand. I have special memories with Johnson. I have memories like when I was flying my Air Conception XL, watching you put that motor on. It was like, how do I say this in a way that's not racially insensitive? That scene in Karate Kid where like the really tiny little Asian dude is like trying to do something big and bad, and because that motor was like 4 inches above your heels.
I think no, it hits my heels.
It hits you. It was amazing, but you flew it, and it was actually pretty badass to watch. And so we kind of hit it off, and you went on kind of describe that Icarus, because that Icarus is a very special one.
So that Icarus was indeed a special one. So when I'm watching Icarus, the years it's happening, it feels like I am just sitting wherever I am, hitting F5 every few minutes to see the dot move, and watching all the pilots just go at it. With the big Icaruses, it's kind of, sometimes there's a lot of luck and a lot of competition. A lot of time, the weather just goes, all right, you get to fly, you 15 are stuck.
Right.
And then it's like, okay, yeah, Dave Wainwright's winning again. Cool.
Dave Wainwright's back in the chicken suit.
Yep.
But this one was different.
This one was a shorter one.
Right.
And I had the joy the night before of saying, okay, who am I facing off against? Some guys, great friends, good people, but slowly kind of figured out that me and Trey were the only ones who were like,
Curtis didn't race that year, did he?
Curtis did.
Okay, but he
had
about destroyed you.
He almost did.
Yes.
Until he had some pretty tragic malfunctions and got stuck in a sugarcane field.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff is pretty nasty.
I still feel really bad for him because I've never seen anyone in my life plan something that had so little reward so hard.
Yeah, Icarus is a big go big or go home kind of race.
Yeah.
And yeah. Anyways, Trey and I were staring at each other and saying, "Yeah, you're definitely a frenemy."
Mm-hmm.
I think I was the only one with the idea to fly in the middle of the very first day when the weather report was 20 gusting 29.
Which was fairly accurate.
Yep. It was calm at 17,000 though. So had I gone over the thunderstorm, that would have been a better route.
And as the host of this, so we're hosting the event, and I'm like, Johnson, I like you. You kind of seem like a kind of a gung-ho guy. Would you please not fly right now? Like, please, I beg you, please don't fly.
And I just threw out kooky ideas because in my mind, I was torn between being in race class versus adventure class. So for those who are not read up on Icarus, race class is pretty legit. You are allowed no support. You have to fly forward only. If you do find some way to transit yourself around, you're only allowed to launch anywhere before your current progress in flight.
Right.
Then there's adventure class, which you're allowed to do anything you want. You can get an RV to shuttle you around. You're basically out there to push your limits a little bit and come home with crazy good stories.
So that's the class I would take, just because I can't do, like, I think about Tucker did it, what was it, 8 or 9 hours of flying in one day?
Yeah.
My body would just shut down on me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I am good for an 18-minute rip. You know, and I mean, flying straight in levels different, and I've done long drives and long flights.
And
but
don't forget, it's 8 hours of flying, but it's also any minute of downtime between then is you're getting refueled. You're getting food. You're getting fuel. I about halfway through the race, about 100 miles in, I remember landing and buying fuel for my paramotor, ibuprofen for myself, Starbucks for myself, and AAA batteries for my GPS. So it's like everything needs energy.
the random things you wouldn't expect. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So my favorite part of that entire Icarus was this experience where you landed at a wild animal preserve.
Wild Florida.
And there's a picture that comes with Johnson sprinting away from an alligator or something like that. I don't remember what the picture was exactly.
Can we throw pictures on the live?
We can't. We're working on it. We're working on the more like modern version of this. But if you guys want to see that picture or others, you can find Johnson on Instagram at johnson.q, which is QU.
No, that's my Facebook
Dang
profile. Instagram, you can find me at class Q airspace,
Just
class_Q_airspace.
Okay, so see, I'm just terrible. Bad
If
friend.
I don't have those alligator pictures up somewhere, I'll put them up.
I still have them on my phone.
So do I. I told the Icarus guys to use it as the profile picture for my next year's event.
It was too much fun. So you did that. You came in third?
Second.
So
the next day, so I flew 10 miles the first day to Wild Florida Alligator Petting Zoo, slept there under my wing because Eric told me there was like cabins and lodging and stuff like that, and there was not. So I ended up pulling a...
I did no such thing.
I ended
No,
up...
I might have, actually.
pulling a wing over my motor, making a TP kind of tent, using my down jacket as a pillow, debating if I wanted that as a blanket instead, but head comfort, warmth, yeah.
You know what's funny?
Actually, no, I did put on the jacket, and then I use a bottle of Motul as my pillow instead.
I've done that, but my favorite, I use shoes. If you don't use a shoe as a perfect neck brace, like when you have to rough it, I mean, it sounds silly, but it actually works.
Yeah, I haven't thought of that one. I also was told to, I ran into the local sheriff, and he asked me, "Do you have a gun on you?" You should. Because it wasn't the alligators I needed to worry about. It was the water moccasins.
Yeah, the snakes, the gators are fine. They're pretty friendly unless you like bop them on the head. But snakes are just mean, man. Mean-spirited. Very. All right, so
that was 10 miles of the
day
race.
1, 10 miles. You're the only one that left that day, correct?
Trey also flew. Trey saw me launch, and he says, well, he launched. I can't let him get that far ahead. He didn't know that I was only planning to go that far and basically do it for, shits and giggles. He flew like 4 miles past me, and at that point the weather moved in and got extremely thermic, like 10,000-foot thunderclouds. He landed in a field at the only bar, gas station, or only gas station that sold alcohol in that region. So I mentioned that to the sheriff I met, and he's like, "Oh, Doyle's? Yeah, I know where he is." So he was only about 5 miles ahead of me, and we actually started like bantering in the Icarus chat that night because we had nothing else to do. We were both stuck there for the night, and he sent pictures of the barbecue he managed to get.
Oh yeah, he had all this great food.
Yeah.
And you had like alligator pictures.
Well, yeah, it's because I was walking around the petting zoo. Like, you go around that place, there's kangaroos, koalas. You walk a little bit further, they hand you a tiny alligator. Mouth is duct taped, and then you hold it. They take a picture. You look awkward. At the end, you go out and you're like, "Oh, that's the picture they took," and they charge you like $60 for it.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Did you pay for it?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So
it was worth it.
I didn't pay for the one where I was holding the little alligator. The one I paid for was the pictures of me wearing the motor in their green screen scenario.
That was hilarious.
Yes, those are the pictures we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. That was just priceless.
So it's kind of like Disney. You walk in, they're like, "Hello, sir, sit down here, hold this sign." They take your picture, and you're like, "Oh, this is goofy, this is fun." They do a lot of good work with it. Like, their image editing template where they just slap you in the middle is great. So I'm assuming some other people spend money on this. But I sat down, I said, "I know what this is. Excuse me, can I come back with my paramotor?" You're what?
What's that?
You don't ask. I'll explain later. Just wait 5 minutes. I'll be back. Walked out to the parking lot, pulled my paramotor out of the parking spot, sat down in front of the green screen.
Wait, your parameter's in the parking spot?
Yeah.
Seems legit. All right.
Yep.
So let's jump ahead. So you've done the Icarus. You came in second. I flew down and met you. We flew back in here together. It was a great, rousing victory.
We forgot about Woody.
These things happen sometimes. But some of the stuff that I love is like you have a very well versed paramotor career. Like, how long have you been flying?
7 years.
So just after I did. I started 8
Yes.
years ago.
Yep.
So in 7 years, how many SIVs have you done?
I've actually only done one SIV.
Just the one,
Yep.
and that one was the one where John Sidham, our attorney who was on the boat with Chris, likes to say that even Chris, who is the most cool, calm, collected person ever, was terrified because here comes this flaming ball of Johnson. I feel like I'm. What's the movie? Austin Powers. Johnson, get over here! Like, here comes this flaming ball of Johnson wrapped up in his wing, diving toward the water, and it's just like, what do we do? And he's like, throw your reserve. So tell the kind of the pre-story. What got you to the point where you need to throw a reserve, boy?
So I'm gonna put this in terms that Chris Santa Croce is going to appreciate. Chris Santa Croce, thank you for the amazing clinic we had that day. Day one, standard SIV maneuvers. Get very comfortable with your wing not being a wing anymore. Respond, react, see it fly away. It's all good. Day two was, "Hey, Chris, I think we've got these maneuvers under control. Walk me through everything I need to know and get me ready for full stalls."
Right.
And we did. We got pretty much everything out of the way. I changed from a Reflex B wing to a Mojo, and that actually let me frontal it. That was
Very benign.
totally fine on
Love
a Mojo.
Mojos. Was that my Mojo?
No, that was pilot from North Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah, I borrowed his Mojo.
And then subsequently destroyed it.
Mostly. Lightly destroyed it. So we're getting ready for full stalls. And actually, the first one went off totally fine. The first one, bury the brakes, watch the wing, wait for a window, two-step hands up, wing might surge a bit, catch it if you can, fly away happily. I said, all right, this felt great. I think we're ready for another. And if you know Chris is just so gung-ho of just like, "It's perfect, that was awesome, do it again now."
He's probably the most positive person I've ever met. Him or Miles Dasher. I think it's the Red Bull Air Force. There's like something in the water there.
Yeah, well, it's the Red Bull.
No, there's something additional in the water. I've had lots of Red Bull and it's never done that to me. So
No, I think you need like water lightly laced with Red Bull.
all the time.
Yep. So he says to me, "All right, that was perfect. Do it again right now," which is a great way to do things. When you've got the flow and you've got that energy and you've got probably the good technique, it usually works out well. Here's where things go a little bit sideways. When you're full stalling on a traditional paraglider harness. There's no extra weight.
Here comes Kate. Do you hear her?
Oh, that's got to be an Adam.
That's got to be Kate.
Yeah.
Kate's doing the flybys now.
So I learned by doing, I plead the fifth. I learned that there's roughly about a 10-second delay between this podcast and the real world.
Yes.
So I guess you won't hear that until 10 seconds from now.
Hi, Kate.
But if we tell her to rip harder and fly closer, that might take a while.
I don't know. So, all right. So he says, go ahead. Let's do it again. You rocked it.
Right. So the difference between a soft paragliding harness and a motor harness, a paramotor, is that a paramotor has a lot of weight. I weighed probably 150-ish at that time, and my motor was maximum fuel because I was flying a Mojo downwind to SIV, and I knew I might spend an hour or two getting back.
Well, and it's like an 8-mile flight, and there are landing areas there, but they're all private property.
Yeah.
You know, and
so I'm going to fly back for the fly-in.
Right. And so it was like fill up your tank, 15 liters, and then cruise back if you could.
Yep.
A couple guys couldn't.
Yeah, so that was what I was prepared for. So maximum weight, I'm going to guess the motor was 80-something pounds at that point. In a normal full stall, bury your hands. This is your posture. Wing is up. You're fine. And you say, okay, I can kind of use these strong muscles to watch for a window and release in time. The first time this happened too. The second time is when I really noticed it. But basically, this might spill something.
Oh, Lord.
With the motor weight and how heavy the brakes on a Mojo are, because I'm flying a size Mojo for me and the motor.
Right.
Some ideas is perfect, but some ideas can be difficult. The Mojo's brake toggles are probably 40, 50 pounds each.
Oh yeah, ton of weight, ton of
weight.
strength.
So
try to do a deep stall. Try not a deep stall, but like a big snappy stall. Kyle, I was up flying with him, we're filming it, and I think it was his third attempt on an extra small, just to whip it up and get to actually do a really incredible stall. I can't think of the word right now. Dynamic stall.
Right.
But it's hard.
Yeah.
I mean, a Mojo is just stable.
Yep. So Mojo's adding all that extra weight, and the motor is still the same weight. So now all of a sudden, I'm basically pushing myself out of the seat, and the motor flops back. When you have a motor in a motor sim with no pilot, your legs are facing into the sky. So now I am trying to hold the brakes down, not just down, but backwards.
Right.
Which is not a strong muscle group. I was thinking, okay, this is going weird. And unfortunately, at the exact same wrong moment, Chris Santa Croce says, something else is a little bit weird here. All right, let's have your hands go up, and we'll fly away.
Right, and you did the natural reaction, which was to dispose of the training you'd had, which was a 2-step up. So you just went, okay.
There's so much force ripping up. And
Right.
also, I think mentally, when I was thinking, I want to get out of this, and Chris said, hands up, I said, well, we both have the same idea. The wing was unfortunately very far back and like pretty much loaded.
You snap underneath.
Yep. So
And-
wing is perfectly loaded, and in his words, really what happened is that the wing shot very far forward, and it had a huge frontal. Coincidentally, I also hit it with my face.
So that's what happened.
Yes.
No, so you have this massive frontal. You swing into the wing. Again, guys, this is an SIV course. It's a motor SIV. It's one of the reasons why motor SIVs aren't usually as recommended as paragliding SIVs because there's just more that can go wrong. And as you smack into this glider high above Crooked Lake, about how high do you think you were?
I'm going to guess I was about 3,000 or 2,000 feet.
So 2,000 to 3,000 feet. You're way up there. Lots of time to make things happen and save yourself. But you go and get gift wrapped. And most of us have seen the videos of these guys doing the infinites, the early infinite guys.
I wish my GoPro was on, but SIV tiredness and GoPros not having intuitive, button responses with auto power off. This is one of the pieces of footage I wish I had.
Right. Right. No, absolutely. So you are tumbling toward the ground, wrapped in your paraglider. You've got a paramotor in your back. Where was your reserve mounted? Was it under seat?
Side mount. Side
Okay.
handle under seat.
So side handle, under seat reserve. And at this point, Chris is hysterical, as he should be, as any instructor would be. Throw!
No,
throw!
it wasn't that bad at all.
No? Okay, that's the way I heard the story.
Well, that's your lawyer talking. The exact words that Chris said were something like, "Hey, buddy, time for a reserve. Hey, buddy, throw your reserve." And actually, in my mind, I was already like one step ahead of him and saying, I'm getting to it. I'm working on. I know, Chris. Thanks. So that was a harder reserve to throw, in comparison, because afterwards the wing had 3 tears in multiple cells. I'm gonna guess one was either my face or a swing arm, or maybe it was both swing arms. And then I specifically remember grabbing the handle, yanking, hitting a snag, and finding something that felt like a line biting against my skin, and having to fight through those lines to get something of a semblance of a clear throw for your reserve.
Right.
I can't see any blue at this point. It's all white fabric. So the clear throw was probably more of, oh, it's out, dump.
Right.
Thankfully, it actually opened quicker than any other reserve I've thrown. It felt like less than a second.
Jiminy Christmas. All right, so we're telling
Then I spend 10 seconds floating down to the lake and saying, at some point I'm going to hit the water. It was a beamer, actually. Said, oh, I wonder what the toggles do. Never mind, that's useless. That's stupid. I'm not going to do that. Unbuckled myself, got ready for a water landing.
Right. Mm-hmm. So we tell this crazy story because, was it about 3 weeks before?
No, it was 4 months before, I think.
So 4 months before, I get a picture of Johnson in a hospital bed as the first opening text.
No. It was a Snapchat.
My apologies. And I'm like, WTF, are you okay? And he's got like blood running down his face. He's got like this
No, there's no blood at all.
I thought this was the cut one.
That was like just a trip.
How many times have you? Oh my God! All right, so so I'm like, Johnson, are you okay? He's like, yeah, I had to throw my reserve. I had a full frontal on a reflex glider into the lake, and we went through the video frame by frame dozens of times.
We didn't get the video until about 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
Once the police department gave me back the paramotor.
Yes, that does take time. Mm-hmm. Does take time, but it was crazy. So like, you've had a tendency to push things to a certain extent, and Mike Brown says it most beautifully. He says that his superpower is the ability to make incredibly bad decisions and execute them flawlessly and somehow survive. Right? Like, that's just like the best line for it. And you kind of have too. Like, you, even when it's not been bad decisions, it's been bad luck.
And that's one thing I simultaneously regret and enjoy, because both of these were sort of known boundaries, supposedly, where this is the sort of thing that you should be doing.
Right.
SIV, things happen in SIV. You sign 15 dozen signature lines for SIV for that reason. You're over a lake for that reason. The lake is your second or third reserve.
Right, and you have a safety boat or two sitting there waiting for you.
Yep.
And that's something I want to bring up, because I've heard some scary stories recently about SIVs. One guy had a boat that wouldn't go over 7 miles an hour, had someone go in the water, and his safety boat couldn't go over 7 miles an hour. It's like, what? I don't remember who it was. But choose your SIV instructor like you would choose a spouse, right? Like, you want to make sure you're working with the best of the best. AJ is flying out to Salt Lake next month to take an SIV, because we did research, and Chris isn't really doing SIVs anymore. So I was like, who's the best? Who's the guy who has perfect reviews that everyone has a great experience with, that doesn't get people wet very often, right? Like, you want to make sure that they're not putting people in the water on purpose, which, because that does happen at some places. They feel like it's a rite of passage. I'm like, that's a rite of passage I can live without, It's a rite of passage because some SIVs say, okay, yeah, this is a safe environment for you to throw your reserve, and that's a different scenario. That's pretty acceptable. If you just want to go for a swim, have a bunch of wet laundry, and do some medium maneuver, or maybe do a really bad maneuver, and just say, this is where I'm going to throw my reserve to see what it's like, which is a good experience. Right, and I can respect that.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, the ones I hear about are mistakes on the instructor's part, and that's what concerns me. So, like, that, people are always like, why don't you teach SIV, Eric? And I'm like, no interest. I'm not a good enough pilot. I'm not a good enough instructor. Yes, we have trained hundreds and a ton of pilots. This year we'll train 268 pilots. Like, we are very good at beginner training. We've poured our heart and soul into it for 8 years. But I'm not an expert pilot trainer. Like, I have no interest in being the best of the best at training SIV. So I tell people, like, go to Italy, go to France, go to Utah, go to the places where people do this all the time, where they have the experience. Because just like with us, we have all the experience in the world with teaching people. And you were just up in Denellen, you saw how our new crew up there is really working to consistently amplify. What was the phrase you said last night?
overflowing enthusiasm for improving the process.
Something like it's too much or something like that.
Oh, yeah, it was something along that phrase, and I don't know if I could take it.
Yeah, we're trying to make things better and better and better. It really is an important thing for us. So there was a question that a little ways up. That was a great question. Jim asks, question for Johnson, is any of this SIV reserve throw recorded? What safety things in place were reinforced because of the incident, and what new precautions might you have added?
So unfortunately, none of the footage was recorded. The only thing that's on GoPro is me turning the GoPro off. Because I wanted to do something it was a long day, battery management, GoPros, everyone knows about this.
Yes, it's the frustrating thing with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What was the follow-on of that?
What would you change? What would you do differently with what you know now?
Actually, Chris gave a really great piece of advice for this. He says the next time he does something like this, especially if the pilot is the same weight as him, which we are very close. I believe he's gotten a lot skinnier and sexier since then than me. He would personally recommend that he should take the exact equipment that the students are about to go flying and fly it himself and do a couple maneuvers just to suss out any
That's a solid point.
weird points.
Yeah, that's a very solid point.
Yep.
Jim said something regarding throwing reserve. Anything that's in place to save my life is something I want to be proficient and confident in doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely agree, Jim. That's one of the things we have in our class here. After you go through your safety class, one of the last classes that we teach is reserve toss. And you get in the harness and we spin you up, and the goal is to hit someone in a soft area. Mm-hmm. So you have to try to hit one of your instructors, and so you're spinning, you're moving, you're being jostled, things are uncomfortable, and we want you to put that reserve into a very small target box, right? So that you can confidently know which way to throw. I saw a guy throw, first reserve toss I ever saw here, an instructor from another school, very talented pilot, had just come off an SIV, was doing a SAT, spun it, and then ended up in the wing. And he threw, but he threw straight down. And it was like, dude. Like, and he'd thrown before it, but it just happened. This guy's an incredibly experienced pilot with general aviation and everything else. A great guy. So I watched the reserve go down. I was just like praying, because he wasn't over water, I'm like praying, and it goes right past him and open. It was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah. And granted, the problem with reserve throws, and the lucky thing with reserve throws in paragliding and paramotoring, is that our sample size is so small. Mm-hmm. We just don't have the perfect solid data where we can say, oh yeah, this is the exact way to throw a reserve.
Right.
I would venture that in the world, there's less than 100 paramotor reserve throw incidents, simply because we fly a different environment than paragliders in free flight.
I would say it's far less than that. In my first 6 years of flying paramotors, 5 years of flying paramotors, I knew one guy who'd thrown at a motor, like personally.
Yeah. So it's such a small data set that some schools teach throw down, some schools throw far as you can. Some guys will say be tactical about it and
think about the rotation direction. And it all comes into play. If you'll screw up for a moment, babe. My wife's behind the computer today, so I get to call people babe. Trevi asked a great question. Q, what kept you calm enough to focus and throw your reserve? I would love to know what was going through your mind.
So I'll give 2 points. One is that I had, I would say, somewhere between 5 and 10 practice runs where my reserve was in time for a repack, and I either went somewhere where there's a hang simulator or just rigged up a hang simulator in my garage and said, all right, I'm about to repack this. I'm just going to do some sort of practice and chuck it as hard as I can with whatever space I have.
Right.
Along with some of the practice of some number of flights. Just figure out what the intuitive motion is for where your reserve handle is.
It's something I do almost every flight, even when it's a 5-minute flight. When I take off, play around on the ground, climb up to like my first base altitude or go into a climb, I stow my right brake and I think, okay, reserve. And it's kind of a double check thing because I pre-flight it, but then I always want to kind of double check and make sure that the tabs are in place. So I'm like, reserve, throw. And I think through that Z-shaped motion I'm going to use to pull it out. And it's something that I put in my head to add an extra layer of, I've never thrown a reserve. I've been in 2 situations where I wish I had, or 1 situation where I wish I had, 2 situations where I should have. But again, this is flying high-performance canopies and doing stupid stuff. So I think what you're describing is perfect. If you're a standard everyday pilot, you don't have access to an SIV, practice. You know? We sell a reserve simulator that Parrot Orange Products makes. I don't know if it's on the website right now, but practicing that ability of being able to throw the reserve without having to repack it is really nice. So that's what we use in our school.
So that was the first point, which is both times I remember not looking at my reserve handle and naturally finding it. So that was a great bonus.
I do have a really funny, accidentally finding the reserve handle story for you. I'll tell you after this.
Okay. The second thing was Chris actually has a piece of media somewhere where he says, be excited to throw your reserve is the summary of it.
Right.
He had a situation where he says, really, today, in front of all these people, this is embarrassing. I don't want to throw my reserve. And he's thinking this live while he's doing something while he's plummeting. Those could have been seconds he used spending to throw his reserve.
One of the things that he taught me when I was in instructor training with him 7 years ago, he said, when you have the opportunity, never doubt if you should. And like there's a lot of back and forth in the community about that, especially with the Dell ice crash, all that stuff. Like, but I kind of ascribe to that. Like, if I'm in doubt of if I should throw that reserve, I'm going to throw the reserve. Yeah. And be confident about it.
And in paramotors, we rarely have situations where we are forced to throw.
Right.
So those times where it does come down to it, it's a very good bet that you need it. But where I was going with is my first reflex full collapse. I looked up and I said, all right, OODA loop, assessing the situation. Some number of riser twists over 2. Stuck horseshoe or either a frontal and double correct on both sides. I wasn't that far off. Something like...
You were low.
Yeah, and I was low. So that many riser twists, 90% or 10% cravat and 40% cravat, both sides of the wing. Brake toggle, some bad cut position. And I looked down and I said, that's the lake. Oh, bonus point. I had just pre-flighted and found that my flotation had a leak in it.
Oh, no.
So I said, that lake might be a death sentence. But I said, there is no chance I'm going to get my wing to crash into the land over there. Hey, I've always wanted to throw my reserve. And that was one of the thoughts that went through my mind.
So he's describing his first incident, which he was flying a Nivik
Doberman 2.
Doberman 2.
17.
I had a Doberman 1. Loved it. Phenomenal wing. Really scary when it collapsed because it was really snappy. It had such small inlets. But I never flew the 2. I think I flew the 2 once. Maybe in years, actually.
I think so.
Yeah, I think I did. But you weren't the only person who had this incident where you were flying over on bar, full reflex, and you flew into basically an inversion, right?
It was a cold pocket of air right in front of a lake.
Right. And so now you're over the lake, your wing disappears, and you immediately made that decision. And I have to attest it to your training, to your decision to constantly push yourself, to wax on, wax off throughout the. Yeah, there we go. There's a good joke. I think it's awesome. I'm bringing these stories up not to scare the audience, but because I want to express that you can have things happen, and as long as you prepare well, as long as you have proper training and prepare well, you can survive them.
And granted, this was probably this. Let's see, I was on my 3rd paramotor at this point, so many hundreds of hours of engines. So that's roughly the data point I'm going to give for how much time that I had spent saying, okay, yeah, I am spending very little time saying, oh no, this is happening to me. And it was all just, oh, this is what's going on now. I'm going to find it and figure out how to get out of the situation.
Well, and I want to bounce into this a little bit too, because at the point where you were, where this terrible collapse happens, you were flying in midday air, right?
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock.
Sunset was 6, 7.
A couple hours before sunset. It was pretty rowdy.
There was 1 cumulus cloud left.
Right. And you're flying an expert level wing, a wing that's unrated, uncertified, untested.
Correct.
And that's really important to keep in mind. My first 500 hours of flight, I had 1 wingtip collapse. 1 wingtip go, and it was because I hit someone's wake. And it was completely benign. Like completely benign. By the time I got to the hadron, I still had never had a real collapse. So I'm over 500 hours of flight time. I hit somebody's wake and had a little speed bump. By the time I felt the bump up, I looked and the wing was already back out, right? So again, this is not the normal progression. This is not something that, as a beginner pilot, this is not what you should expect. as a beginner pilot, I mean, flying beginner wings, not purposely trying to collapse them, how often have you had any incidents?
I mean, so
not counting midday flying.
Yeah. So actually, the couple times I've been thermaling, Aviator Bravo, Mexico, Utah, I don't think I had taken a single collapse.
Really?
Yeah. So
I want to fly in Via, and I'm actually a little bit scared of the air because I've heard it's so big.
No, it's not.
Really?
Well, choose your month wisely.
Okay.
Starting in December, it gets more and more and more powerful. I think February and March is going to get very strong and punchy. That's usually when the competitions are. But before that, spending Christmas in Mexico is a lot of fun.
Okay, I'll talk to the wife. We'll see if we can make that happen. All right, so again, I'm just bringing this up because I want to share stories like Johnson's because I think it's very important that we recognize the importance of safety and to really learn to understand, acknowledge, and respect the amount of danger that we accept.
Yes.
So like you are flying an uncertified glider.
My second slalom wing at the time.
Right. And then you're flying a safe glider, but you're flying in purposefully challenging conditions, trying to make the wing go away.
This was an instructor point because I was at the stage where I said, I'm about to go teaching some guys. The only time I get to fly is now because I reserve the good air for my students.
That's the hardest thing about being an instructor. It's one of the reasons why I'm so happy that I'm not usually having to work in the field. Like I do help and I do still get involved with some trainings, but generally oh look, they're flying.
There's two other things that led up to this. One was Icarus was months before this.
Right.
So I'd taken that exact same wing all around Florida, 13 hours, aka every single hour of the day, and that wing was completely solid that entire trip. And granted, I was mashing the speed bar on that race for about 40% of the race.
The point where your legs are shaking.
Yeah.
I know that feeling well.
Yeah. So that's one of the things that makes me suspicious is that after that race, I said, oh, if I had my PK system hooked up, the speed bar effort goes down so far. Then I started flying with PK speed bar all the time. The speed bar is nice and light. Be like a pylon pilot. Use it all the time. Get used to it.
That was the issue. So I'm bringing all this stuff up. I'm going to go back full circle, but your experience made me take my speed bar off.
I've heard that from a lot of people.
Yeah, and I've flown with speed bar a ton. I love PK. And being able to, my favorite thing to do, there's a flight I used to take with my brother. We would fly down on the east side of 27, east of 17, go down through Frostproof, almost down to Avon Park, and then loop back up. And there was this orange clay road through an orange grove. And at the end of it, just south of Frostproof, there are these 60, 80-foot high oak trees. And if you're buried on the bar, you're flying, at that point I was flying a Nirvana Instinct 230, so lots of power, buried on the bar, hold it, dump bar brakes, and just go straight up over them. And it was it was completely outside the risk profile that was worth anything, but it was exhilarating. And I think that's one of the things I wanted to highlight with our conversation was looking at the risk profile you put yourself in, especially when you're an intermediate pilot, which a lot of people here are, right? So if you're an intermediate pilot and you have confidence, you're feeling good about your launches, your landings, your flying, your turns are getting deeper. As you build that confidence, it's so imperative to take a step back and go, wait a second. My incidents.
Is this the life I'm going to choose?
And is it worth the squeeze, right? Is it worth the risk that I'm taking on for myself? Because that's the hard part. The reality is most of the time, it's not. Flying up to that oak tree line of oak trees is super exhilarating because I'm doing almost 60 miles an hour, 55 miles an hour straight at them, and they're coming up and it's inevitable doom, and all of a sudden, boom, I'm over it. And it's such a cool feeling. But there has to be a moment, and this is something that you need mentors. This is why I highly encourage mentorship. Find advanced instructors, find people who can help you. We're working on being able to offer some solutions for that, but finding mentors that can be, hey, bro, you're getting too cocky. When I had my incident and broke my back, I had been put on a new wing. I went from a Hadron 20 to a Snake 18, and Shane had told me, dude, you're ready for it. And Ryan had told me, hey, you're ready for it. And these are guys I looked up to. But the reality was, I wasn't ready. I don't think it's not that I wasn't ready to fly it. It's that my belief in myself grew too fast. So dialing yourself back in, taking a step back. My incident with Kyle, where I had a massive collapse cutting across the wake of his sat. I think I've shown you that video. I was flying the same routine I flew every day. It became normal. And so everything I did, like I was flying a new titanium XL that I just got in, and I hadn't put a reserve on it yet because I was waiting for my size to come in. So like I'm flying the same acro routine I always fly every morning, but I don't have my safety precautions in place. And it's like, wow, okay, so there's so much that I can learn from that, right?
Yeah.
So that was long-winded. Sorry.
Yeah.
So huge shout out to my wife, Nell, for manning the sound booth today. She is headed home to take care of the kids. But again, Jim put it perfectly. Says, amen to that, Eric. We all need sobering stories like this to wise us up and keep us from lawn darting in. I think more than just a sobering story, it's an opportunity for us to be humble, to lead with vulnerability and say, hey, here's the areas where we've made mistakes. You know, you and I can both certainly say we made mistakes that led to these things.
Yep.
And there's so much that we can learn from them and that we want to educate others with.
Yeah.
So let's take a huge deviation. We're going to do this. You're going to go get a beverage because you're desperately in need of one. I'm going to ask you to get me a beverage, although it's right there, I think. There's wine over there. Oh, you saved me a splash, almost. And then what we're going to do is we're going to talk some about who you are as a person, what you do for a living, how you are a closeted PPG instructor. And I want to point out that one woman just was in shock that you're straight. So I want to point that out. She came in there. So Kate got her flight. How you feeling, Kate? Freaking awesome. We heard you fly by us. Nice. Twice. All right. So PK system, you go get a beverage. I'm going to answer questions for a minute. Okay. All right. So the PK system is it's called the PAP Kolar system. So the PAP Kolar was the guy who designed it. It's the idea where normally you release trimmers and it allows the trailing edge of the wing to come up. Or, thank you. There's another bottle in the fridge, I think. Because I think that doesn't really count as wine. Like that's like what you'd give your 8-year-old, right? Like, like you, my 8-year-old. So PAP Kolar system is designed to not just release the trim. So when you release the trims, the trailing edge of the wing comes up. When you add speed bar, the nose of the wing dives forward, lowering your angle of incidence and changing your center of lift. The PK system allowed you to have both closed, and then as you would add speed bar, it would open your trims and add speed bar at pulling the nose forward at the same time. So it's a massive improvement. It's one of the things that the guys in slalom racing started doing because it allowed them to maximize their lift in turn, so they could minimize their radius, and they could maximize their speed in the straights. So anyway, that's the PK system. All right, so we have to do this. Envelope for Eric, picture for Kay. Well, way to give it away, bro.
All right, so you have to open this. No, that's mine.
That's for you.
Why you don't need a knife to open an envelope, do you?
Do you see how much tape is on this thing? Vertical was afraid of his anthrax wouldn't arrive. I can't even get my knife in there. All right, so for future reference, those of you guys who want to send us cool things open to the live stream, we accept all forms except for glitter bombs.
I'm pretty sure that might be what this is.
And they are welcome to send to our shop address.
451 South Airport Road, Lake West, Florida 33859.
All right, so Tucker said, let's see, Vertical Line sent us some.
At the same time?
He sent us some stickers, and he. I'm not gonna show him on stream because I don't want to add more drama. Let's see. I drained my toilet at work, let the surface dry, and placed them below the water line. Clear epoxy to the surface. Once cured, filled with water, and used as normal. All in the name of fun. So these are some stickers from PPG Smoke that are some pretty aggressive photos about certain individuals in the business. Yeah, it's pretty darn funny. So you can't get it off?
Open.
Can I help you?
No. Ouch.
Tucker kept mentioning Aviator PPG for formal training, which he made very clear was essentially to get into the sport safely. I could not have been happier that I attended class at Aviator Paramotor. Truly life-changing. My experience... It was!
Got it! I feel like I ruined the glitter bomb part because I was trying to keep it contained. Yay!
You're going to have to clean this up tomorrow.
Thanks a lot, Vertical Lines. I really appreciate it.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Hey guys, let's not plan this to do this ever again. Mark, you're hilarious.
And there's of course a face.
What's the face?
A smile laughing face.
Oh my God. Sure. I'm gonna finish reading this beautiful letter.
Excuse
oh my
me while
gosh,
I just
they're all
brush the
dying.
glitters.
they're a part of you now.
It's all over now.
I want to thank Mark for not sending actual glitter, just confetti. Confetti bombs are acceptable. Glitter bombs will get you shot.
Glitter bombs would definitely get you shot.
Hey, come here, you.
Guys.
Love you.
Oh, that's so pretty. Oh, that almost went in your drink.
It,
All right.
It darn well did. All right, so hang on. Let me finish the story.
Thank you so much, Mark. That was awesome. I'm sorry I kind of ruined the glitter bomb. I was expecting it, but I also was expecting a
This
picture
is
in the
picture
sun.
do not bend in the sunset. Love from vertical lines.
That was amazing. We should have expected it. We made jokes about it.
We
about
did.
People sending glitter bombs. We should have. No.
All right, so let me
what's
finish this. It says, I could not have been happier that I attended class at Aviator Paramotor. It was truly life-changing. My experience was 10 minutes of my first flight. Within 10 minutes of my first solo flight was equivalent to 10 years of therapy. Thank you once again, Eric, for all your blood, sweat, and tears. You have changed many lives, including my own. May all your dreams come true. You have an amazing family and a great team in place. Amen, brother.
That's awesome.
Amen. Absolutely agreed. All right, so thank you, Mark. I guess we asked for this.
Yeah.
All right, let me see. There was another question. If we could scroll up just a little bit.
Is Q back in here? Where'd he go?
Q back in here.
Q back in here. All right, Q.
Keep going. All right, here we go. From Paramotor Crazy.
They're all over the floor.
It's all over everywhere. It's a part of us now.
Gosh.
I feel like we should not clean it up. Just like let it float around the shop. They're little hearts. Dave asks, Eric, you mentioned about being cocky, or we can say too confident. How do we know if we are overconfident before taking on a new risk or maneuver? Johnson's dumping the chair upside down. So, Dave, that's actually a great question. How do you recognize when you're being overconfident and taking on a new risk or maneuver? I would say it goes beyond just taking on new risks and new maneuvers. I think it comes down to classifying your standard risk. For me, when I find a point where things feel completely natural, where what I'm doing I don't have to think about at all, and I don't have a sense of nervousness. I just feel like competent. I got this. I can absolutely, make this happen. And so for me, it's that point right there. And what I do, and I'd love to have your answer on this as well, Johnson, but what I do is one of two things. One, I either don't fly at all. Mm-hmm. I'll take a huge step back and say, I am not flying. And two, I will go up and take the most benign flight ever. I will fly around at 20-degree bank maximum, super boring airline pilot style flying, just because I think that's very, very important that I recognize myself when I get comfortable is where I'm too confident. So one woman, one wheel says, Johnson drives thousands of miles away and is still going to get covered in glitter even without my help. So this is Johnson's girlfriend.
Yeah, Amanda loves glitter. And
wait. I feel like there must be pictures.
No, there's just glitter all over our house. You don't need pictures when every 3 days you find glitter in your coffee or glitter in your hair or glitter in your toothbrush.
So she does realize she's dating a stripper, right?
Strippers don't use glitter.
I don't even know about that. So I'm not the right guy to ask. Doug Haverline says, Johnson is the man that saved my sanity when learning ground handling. Thank you, Q.
You're welcome.
Absolutely.
I will say kiting is one of my favorite things to get people to find whatever's not clicking and just make it fun.
Yes.
And find that point where you're like, oh, this is what's happening. And it's such a specialized point where there's so many aspects of kiting, and it reflects a lot on wing handling.
Yeah.
But it's just too much to master in any short number of days.
And I would consider myself to be a very good kiter.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can make the wing do whatever I want to do. But when I watch someone like Pal to Catch or Thea Blick kite,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, I suck. Like, I'm good, but I can't make the wing.
Ground helico.
I can ground helico decently, not great. Like, it brushes a little.
Yeah.
But, they just make it effortless. They really do. So I put in hundreds and hundreds of hours. I love
And
doing it.
It decays so quickly.
So quickly.
I will say last year I said, oh, I kind of suck at kiting again. Because the years before that, I would say, all right, I'm showing up early to the field because I want to play and I want to kite before my students get to the field.
Mm-hmm.
And then time falls away, and sometimes you just don't think about kiting. And for a while, I said, oh, wait, hold on. I can't one wheel and kite right now because I don't know how to kite. I can one wheel. But
One wheeling and kiting is one of my favorite things to do. It's a blast.
so fun.
We challenged AG to do it, and he did it, and so then I had to. All right, so to go back to that question,
Right.
What do you look for in yourself when you recognize that you might be becoming overconfident? How do you recognize it?
So I like to apply one rule, which is only allow yourself to do one stupid thing per day. So usually the easiest example of something like this is, oh, all right, I'm going to practice wingovers today. Practice some wingovers, get some bigger wingovers. You take a deflation. You're like, man, I suck. I'm going to do something I really know how to do. I'm going to do a deep spiral right now. Because you're in that mind flow where you're saying, all right, yeah, I just failed at something.
I'm like, never deep spiral ever. I haven't done a deep spiral in probably 5 years.
Yeah. So you say, okay, yeah, I just failed at something. So I'm going to do something I know how to do. Which may be a deep spiral. Maybe it's going flying low through some hay bales downwind.
Right.
My rule is, all right, I'm using that one mistake or failure or whatever it was as a learning moment.
You're not trying to push yourself further. You're trying to get to something that's
I'm not trying to hide my shame, actually, is what it kind of feels like, is saying,
that's
all
an
right.
interesting way of putting it.
Yeah, because we're all going to make mistakes. And the trick in this sport is to make mistakes that are safe.
And that's one of the things we see with students, particularly after they've come from another school. They come out to the field, they blow 5 or 6 launches, and then they are like, they're angry, they're emotional.
Exactly.
And they try really hard for their one last time, and then they destroy their equipment.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it doesn't happen to our students. It just doesn't really. But I'm sure it has happened in the past. But trying to remove that emotion of having to prove yourself is really important.
Yeah. And the example there would be someone's trying to, practice their reverse launches when they're not very practiced at them. And they pull one, inflate another, and they all go bad. Then to turn around and say, I'm just going to gun this and do a power forward. That's the second mistake of the day. Maybe you've practiced power forward, maybe you haven't. But it's so easy to fall into that trap of, I just finished something that I'm not happy with. I want something that I want to be very successful with.
Right.
But then have that fog of failure carry through.
Absolutely. So great question from, I think it was Racing with Paramotors, asked if you have a YouTube channel.
Yes and no. I have nothing on it. I don't think I've published anything in a good number of years. Class Q Airspace is the channel where it's actually on. I do have a couple of clips from my flying in Valle, a downwind launch on a Dudek Universal, scaring some geese. Not much more than that. I would say that I usually say if I put as much energy as I wanted to into video, I would not have time to instruct.
Right, so let's talk about that some. So let's talk first about your day job because it's ridiculously entertaining. And I want to point out that I've tried to hire you no less than 7 times.
Okay, accurate.
No less than 7 times. And I keep trying to get him away. But so I think that any good life.
Shout out to Kristen because that was the most I've seen so many instructors cry in a training clinic.
Was watching her first solo.
Watching her first solo.
I cried, and I wasn't there.
Yeah. I cried the first time when I watched her fly and land. And then I cried a second time watching her live stream on Instagram.
Yes, so good. So I believe that every business should have a noble purpose. We should have something that makes us want to continue working even when it's hard. And so, like Aviator's noble purpose is we believe that we make the world a better place by helping people overcome their fears through flight. I believe that when you fly, it makes you a better person. Not that you're better than anybody else, but you're better for yourself. Although any pilot will tell you that they're probably better than everyone else, at least at a party, once they have a drink or two. That said, the reason why I can't hire you is not just because I can't afford you, but you actually have a job with a noble purpose. So what is it you do? So
in summary, I shoot particle accelerators at tumors. Not lasers, not tachyon beams, not gamma radiation. Yeah, not gamma radiation.
There might be some gamma.
No. We use beta radiation.
So you're using beta radiation, using a particle accelerator. How big is your particle accelerator?
Particle accelerators can vary. The ones that we see are usually the basement layers of hospitals. And
so no Hadron Collider?
They technically, Hadron is just a type of energetic particle.
I was talking about the giant one.
Oh, the large Hadron Collider.
Yes.
We sell stuff to them. They're nerds. They don't know what they're doing.
I just think it's awesome. So you're trying to cure cancer by firing stuff at it.
We're not trying to cure cancer. We are supporting the electronics that are needed to develop one form of cancer treatment.
So you're not trying to cure cancer, so why aren't you here? Come on. You just ruined it. You just ruined it. You have no excuse. You're just feeding into the pharmaceutical machine.
If someone cures cancer tomorrow, I would be out of a job, and then I can come work here.
Okay, so guys, get on it.
Yeah,
please. I know Brooks in the chat. He's got a wonderful hemp grow house that apparently cures cancer. So there you go. You're set. Come on down.
I work on the big ones that are like watermelon shaped. So those need to go out first.
Those need to go out first. All right. So that's your day job. You're kind of a ninja instructor because no one really knows about it, which is good. And we talked about this last night at dinner, or at Beefs. I think that Aviator's done a really great job of developing a beginner learning system that can be fully training a pilot and having them completely competent in 8 days of flyable weather. 14, if the weather's not great all the time.
You create probably the most proficient novices on the planet right now.
Well, thank you. So that said, you do something differently because you don't describe it as instruction.
I describe it as a base instruction plus ongoing mentorship, plus extended mentorship.
I think describing it as mentorship was perfect because, you're a part-time guy, so you're not going to be able to give someone the level of service they might receive at a full-time school.
I don't have motors in stock. I can't say, ship your carburetor back to me and I'll take a look at it. But what I do try to do is say, okay, all right, you've got your first flights. You know how to launch and land. You know power pressure, et cetera, et cetera. I'm confident that you can get yourself into the air. What I want is to be able to say, okay, I might happen to be at this mountain and I'm going to be flying this event. I would love it if you could come and I can give you my insight on where I'm flying, what I'm thinking about, why I'm flying, and what to consider in these circumstances. Because training's great. Beginner training is, all right, I am getting past the stress of I don't know what's going on to saying, all right, I want to be mechanically in control of this aircraft.
Right.
But the air is such a big place, and this sport has so many nuances.
So many. And it's not a science, it's an art. And you have to have a mentor, whether it's a local pilot that has more experience than you or an instructor like yourself. Like, you have to have mentors. Like, I have mentors that I look up to. I mean, I talked to Matt Minion about what he's doing with his acro, and I'm just like, dude, the way you're maneuvering the glider is so different than how I do it. Like, I respect the heck out of how he flies, A little bit crazy. Love you, Matt.
Yeah. So my personal love is probably weather phenomenon and cross countries. And honestly, sometimes I think I should be a balloonist instead to figure out how to harness that wild air that's up there. But that's what I try to do is I try to find guys who will, one, jive with me as an instructor. Because that's one of the downsides I have as a solo instructor is I don't have Fletch. I don't have AJ. I can't say, oh yeah, I hate you. Go to Fletch instead. Everyone loves Fletch.
Well, that's one of the things we love. It's like we have 12 instructors now, and it's like having that. Every personality can be served, and it's so crucial for us with the volume we do. Like, we want to make sure that everyone actually gets served.
Yeah. So I have that as a disadvantage. What I want to do is I want to find guys who say, I want to make this a passion and learn as much of the art science Venn diagram as I can about the sport and hopefully give back to the community long term.
Yeah, absolutely. So if someone wanted to work with you, how many students do you work with a year?
I would say the median is about 6.
So 6 students a year. You're in the Boston area. If you're already flying, like, one of the things that Johnson loves most is when someone comes here and learns to fly and then comes up and becomes a flying buddy. Because then as a student, you can actually mentor that without a whole lot of effort.
Yeah.
So definitely something you can do is have the opportunity to work with Johnson, and not just the Boston area, because you're all over Jersey, Maine, you go everywhere.
One of my favorite pieces of art is I actually have a FAA U.S. Continental Planning Map. It's like 50 inches by 40 inches. It is glued onto a foam board in my living room. And
Your girlfriend must love this.
We can take it down, and you can use it as a projector screen as well.
Okay.
So it's dual purpose. But it's a foam board backed FAA map. And I went through the flight log that I had for when I kept a flight log. After a while, you're just like, I
should not admit how far back my private pilot flight log is. It's about 300 hours behind where I am right now.
Yeah. But one of the things I did in the flight log was keep a decent track of all the locations I flew. So for a good 1 hour in the living room, I just said, all right, find this location, look at the airspace map, place a pin.
That's cool.
And by the time I finished, I have about 200 different pins all
awesome.
over New England.
Well, you got to start with a world map.
The world map is hard.
You've done Iceland, right?
I do have pins. So Iceland is even harder. So I have pins in Costa Rica and Mexico. They are still on the latitude, longitude, x-axis.
Right.
And I just put them on that axis accurately, but I can't go south enough.
Right.
Iceland is off the map both north and east.
I love that you have a heart stuck to your arm right now.
Yeah, it's for Amanda.
Left arm.
Did you say he wears his heart on his arm?
He wears his heart on his sleeve. I've been slowly stabbing all the hearts, just like letting out my rage. No, so I think I'm up to around 28 states and 7 countries. So come at me, bro.
I mean, have you flown Iceland yet?
No, because everyone's in Iceland. I don't want to go there. I'm going to go to Greenland.
You don't want to fly Greenland.
I know, I don't want to fly Greenland.
One is cold, which I know you love.
Nope, so much nope.
It's very windy. All of my info on Greenland flying with paramotors is the one guy who does it to herd reindeer. He will lightly pay you to come fly paramotors to help him shuttle reindeers into the harvest trough. But you'll be on speed bar all the time. You'll be wearing 2 jumpsuits.
That sounds kind of baller, actually. All right, so we're changing batteries really quick, but I think we're kind of wrapping up, guys. There's still time left for us to go fly, for those of us who haven't had a beverage. So girlfriend just wants to add her own pin someday when she learns to fly. Hey, girlfriend, Amanda, we have an all-girls class.
Oh, yeah.
In October, and some of the profits are going to benefit childhood sexual abuse victims. And it's going to be an all-female class. We're going to bring all of our female instructors down for it. So we currently have 2 female instructors plus 2 female helpers. So we are going to have an amazing time. And I would definitely encourage you guys to, if you are a female, to do that. And because you're dating this guy, I would deeply encourage you not to train with him if you still want to like him afterwards.
That does seem to be a very hard puzzle for a lot of people.
And we're going to have Leanne and Derek here next week, and or the end of this week. Derek, I'm telling you now, you're not allowed to sit near her. You're not allowed to be near her when she kites. You're not allowed to be near her when she launches. You can kiss her on her way out to the field, and you can do your own thing.
He's allowed to be there when she lands for the first time, right?
Oh, well, after she lands, he may walk up.
Yeah.
We've done this a lot with couples, and it's
Mike will be a bouncer.
Yeah, Mike will be a bouncer. I would be more scared of Nell. All right. So Vertical Lines asks, where do we donate? We're working on the website right now. In fact, Jane Allen's back there. She's got the Aviator Foundation websites coming along. You'll be able to donate to the Aviator Foundation and you can specify you want it put toward the women's class. Brian Waller says, sounds like a good class for me to be since I'm single.
Our apologies.
No, I love Brian. He's an amazing guy. So Derek says, so I get to just go fly. Yes, man. All right, any other questions for Johnson or myself, guys? We're an hour and 30 minutes into this with the pre-show included. It's still light outside. Daylight savings times rocks for this. We are happy to help. Brooke Sheffield says, no lack of male help. That's true. I have a feeling we'll have a lot of volunteer instructors for this class. We've been training more and more ladies. We trained... Jane Ellen learned 2 weeks ago. Gosh, we've had a lot more ladies lately, which I'm really thankful for. Woot, woot. All right, let's keep scrolling, see if any more questions come in. We should have a female fly party after training. Actually, Christine, that's something we've talked about doing. That would be the second weekend of October. Right after the class, we may actually do that. Adrian wants to know, why does Johnson not want to fly for Paradigm? It's really an issue that it's a physical limitation, I think.
My dick's too long.
It's a family-friendly show. I have no words. You've rendered me speechless.
I will be at the Paradigm Show in Lycoming, Pennsylvania later in the year.
Yes, he will. So we actually we invited Johnson to join us for Sun and Fun, but he decided it was way better to avoid Paradigm and just do boring fly-ins. So he skipped that. We will be joined by another new member, which I'm excited about. We'll announce him at that show. And actually 2 other new members in Paradigm this year. So very excited
Roughly
to
the
have
same height.
Roughly the same height. One has the most glorious hair in the industry.
They're both getting pretty good.
I don't know, man. I think T can fight B or J for that. Like,
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that.
I mean,
But
dude,
they're both pretty decent.
dude, just painful. All right, his Johnson is too long. Oh my gosh, Brian's bringing a smoker. We got a smoker here, Brian. You can use ours if you'd like. All right, so wonderful show, wonderful night. Thanks for being on, Johnson. This was actually pretty fun. We scared the snot out of people. Hopefully we got him back in. Contact info for Johnson to fly. Class Q Airspace on Instagram.
I am very available on multiple platforms. Find me on Facebook. Find me on Instagram, class_Q_airspace. Or actually, those are probably the best 2 ways to find me.
There's also isn't there a New England paramedic pilots group?
There is. I don't check it that often.
Oh, well, you fail. Yeah. All right. I love my brother Johnson. I'm glad he's still alive. He keeps pushing the envelope in safer and safer ways, which I appreciate. It's one of the reasons why we invited him to Paradigm, because he's a well-learned and very conscientious and thoughtful pilot. So for all you guys who are watching, thank you so much. This has been episode number 40 of the Ask Aviator podcast and live stream. We'll look forward to seeing you all next week, hopefully if we've recovered from the Palm Bay fly-in. If not, we will catch up with you guys just before Sun and Fun for our next show. Have a wonderful night. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you, Johnson.